So did everyone enjoy the lessons so far? We sure did, Dad. Even me. I got to be part of it. I got to swing around and around. Well, so did we. That's right, as you soon shall see. But how much do the rest of you really know about astronomy? Not much, Dad. Would you like me to tell you a little about it? Yay! Me too. Me too, says Petey. Okay, well, I'll just give you the basics. Just a basic history of astronomy. Yay! And then can we do more experiments? Sure. Okay, but here it goes. First, it starts with an ancient Greek philosopher named Ptolemy, who lived many, many years ago.
Ooh.
What do you do, Dad? Well, he wrote the first books on astronomy, the science that studies the planet and the stars. Ooh. And he believed that all the planets and the stars and even the sun revolved around the Earth. Ooh, that sounds great. But over 1,000 years later, another scientist and astronomer named Nicholas Copernicus, who was from the country Poland, he thought something was wrong. He didn't think Ptolemy was right. What did he say? Well, Copernicus believed that the planets and the stars and even the Earth revolved around the sun. And so,
Ooh.
that's what he believed. But the thing was, not many people believed that things revolved around the sun. They believed that the Earth was the center of everything. And so, Copernicus waited until almost before he died to write a book that explained that he thought that Ptolemy was wrong, because he didn't want people to get mad at him. And then what happened? Well, he wrote the book, and you know what happened? People got mad. That's right, they got mad. But by then, he'd already died, and it didn't really matter much.
Good.
But many years later, an Italian scientist, an astronomer, an inventor, and all-around great guy named Galileo.
We know him.
That's right, you do. Well, Galileo believed Copernicus. The only thing was, he wanted to know more about what went up in space, and then he discovered something called the telescope.
Ooh.
You know what that is? It's a big device, like a big tube, with mirrors on an end and a lens on the other, that you can see things in space. So, Galileo, he discovered this neat new invention called the telescope. And he started using it, and then he was able to see all kinds of things in space. He saw planets like Jupiter and Venus, and he saw rings around Saturn, and he saw stars, and he started to formulate his own ideas about how things in space moved. And it was because of people like that that people started to wanting to know more about what went on in space. And then people got the idea of other people traveling in space. But first, some scientists and some engineers in Russia, they decided to experiment with space travel. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
Right, where people can go in a rocket ship. But many years before that, there weren't rocket ships. the Russians, they first built something called a satellite called Sputnik that traveled around the Earth, and it took pictures of the Earth, and it beamed signals back that people could hear, and it gathered all kinds of information about the Earth. And then the Russians, and as they were known then, the Soviet Union, they thought, well, we're not ready to put a man in space, so what could we put in space? So they decided to use some animals. And do you know what they used?
What?
Well, not cats. They used dogs.
Aw, how come they got in?
Well, I don't know. I guess maybe because they were small and they were easily trained. And the first little dog they put into space was named Laika. And they put Laika, went all by himself up into space and went into orbit. But poor Laika didn't come back from space. So up she went and spun round and round and round and was lost in space forever. But then, about 3 years later, I think it was 3 years later, anyway, in the year 1960, they tried again with a couple of more little doggies named Strelka and Belka, and also 40 lab mice and a couple of rats.
Yeah, rats, yummy.
Yeah, do you think it would be a good idea to blast them off into space? I guess the Soviet engineers did. Anyway, so Strelka and Belka and the mice and the rats, they all went up to space together so they could demonstrate that animals could go into space and be safely returned to Earth. And you know what happened? They all went up into space, and you know what else? They all returned safely to Earth.
Cool!
And that's the story of early astronomy and early space travel. What do you think?
Cool!